All right, let's dive right in. Today we're going deep into the very heart of India's constitution, its preamble. Now this is so much more than just an introductory paragraph. Think of it as the nation's mission statement, the moral compass that guides a country of over 1 billion people. Let's get to it.
So, have you ever stopped to think, what is the philosophical soul of the Indian Constitution? It's a pretty big question, right? Well, the answer is found in this single, incredibly powerful paragraph, the Preamble. It's basically India's identity statement, capturing all the dreams and all the promises of a nation that was just beginning.
Okay, here's a quick look at our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to talk about the Preamble as the Constitution's soul, trace its journey from a revolutionary idea to a legal text, then we'll break down its core ideals, see how it's been tested in court, and finally, wrap up with its legacy for India today.
First up, the Constitution's soul. You know, it's interesting. You can't actually sue someone based only on the words in the preamble. But, and this is a huge but, it's the guiding light. It's the lens through which every single law and every article of the Constitution has to be interpreted and understood.
Just look at this opening phrase. We, the people of India. I mean, how powerful is that? This was a truly revolutionary statement. It says loud and clear that the ultimate authority, the real power, doesn't come from a king or a parliament or some foreign ruler. Nope. It comes from the citizens themselves. This is the absolute bedrock of Indian democracy.
All right. Next up, let's look at how the Preamble became the blueprint for the nation. This text didn't just appear out of thin air, you know? It was really forged in the fires of the freedom struggle, turning all those powerful ideals of a revolution into the actual legal foundation of a new republic.
And you can actually trace its journey right here. It all kicked off in December 1946 with something called the Objective Resolution, which was basically Jawaharlal Nehru's vision for a free India. That vision was then debated, drafted, and tweaked over the next couple of years, until it finally became the preamble we know today, adopted right along with the full Constitution in 1949.
Okay, now we get to the real meat of it. For anyone studying for competitive exams like the UPSC, you're going to want to pay close attention. We're about to break down the 5 pillars, the core words that define the very nature of the Indian state. Let's do it, one by one.
First up, sovereign. What does that actually mean? Well, to put it simply, India is its own boss. It has the supreme and independent power to make its own decisions, both within its borders and in its relationships with other countries. No one else gets to call the shots. Second, we have socialist. Now, it's absolutely vital to remember this word was added later, in 1976. And in the Indian context, this doesn't mean the government owns everything. Not at all. It really signifies a deep commitment to social and economic justice, trying to reduce inequality and create a welfare state. You see this idea put into practice through the directive principles of state policy.
Third, secular. Also added in that same 1976 amendment. This one is pretty straightforward. India, as a state, does not have an official religion. The government is neutral when it comes to religious matters, and it guarantees every single citizen the freedom to practice their own faith without any discrimination.
Number 4, democratic. This is where that idea of power to the people really comes to life. The supreme power rests with us, the citizens, and we exercise that power by choosing our representatives through regular, free, and fair elections. It's the foundation of the whole system.
And the 5th and final pillar is republic. This makes a really key distinction. It means that our head of state, the president, is elected. We don't have a king or a queen who inherits the position. The highest office in the land is based on the people's choice, not on birthright.
Okay, so we've just defined what the Indian state is. Now, let's explore what it promises to do. The Preamble lays out 4 core objectives, these huge aspirations that it wants to secure for every single citizen.
First, justice. And listen, this isn't just about what happens in a courtroom. The Preamble talks about social, economic, and political justice. Here's a key takeaway for any exam. You can think of the fundamental rights as the main tool for securing political justice, while the directive principles are the guide for achieving that broader social and economic justice for everyone.
Next up, liberty. This is all about our individual freedoms, the freedom to think what we want, say what we want, believe what we want, and worship how we want. Now, these freedoms aren't absolute, they're balanced with things like public order, but they are essential for human dignity and are protected as fundamental rights.
Then we have equality. This is a big one. It's a promise of equality of status and of opportunity. That means, on one hand, nobody is above the law,
But on the other hand, it also means the state can take proactive steps, like reservations, to help level the playing field and give historically disadvantaged groups a fair shot.
And finally, fraternity. I love this one. You can think of it as the social glue that holds this incredibly diverse country together. It's a call for a sense of common brotherhood among all Indians, to rise above our differences and work together to protect both the dignity of every person and the unity of the nation. So, all these incredible ideals led to a major legal drama. Was the preamble just a nice, poetic introduction, or was it a legally binding part of the Constitution? This question sparked a huge debate that went all the way to the Supreme Court.
And this is where things get really interesting, especially from a legal studies point of view. In the Barabara Union case in 1960, the Supreme Court said, nope, the preamble is not part of the Constitution. But then, just 13 years later, in the landmark case of Ananda Bharati case, the court did a complete 180. It reversed its decision and declared that, yes, the preamble is an integral, inseparable part of the Constitution. What a turnaround.
This leads us to a really powerful fact. Given how fundamental it is, you might wonder how many times the preamble has been changed. Well, the answer is just once. That's it. In its entire history, it has only been amended a single time, which tells you just how sacred this text is considered.
And that one time was the 42nd Amendment, back in 1976 during the emergency. It added just 3 words to the preamble: socialist, secular, and integrity. A very significant change that remains a subject of debate to this very day.
So, let's bring this all home. Why does this short text written over 70 years ago still hold such profound meaning for India? What is its enduring legacy today?
Well, when you boil it all down, its significance is just immense. It's the moral compass for our entire legal system. It's like the nation's ID card, defining who we are. It's a call for unity, a powerful reflection of our history, and a commitment to universal human values. It's the whole shebang.
So in the end, the preamble is so much more than just words on paper. It's a living promise. And that leaves all of us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? How well is India living up to that promise today? And how can these powerful 75-year-old ideals guide our path tomorrow? Something to think about. Thanks for watching.